Good morning, good afternoon. Not quite sure what time it is there where you are.
How's it going, man? Let me
Yeah,
see.
good yourself.
All right, here we go.
I would like to kick things off is just to say, I'm not quite sure if you're aware of what the HustleWing community is. So it's
No,
a
I have no
large
idea, man.
So imagine if you had Airbnb and Uber, and that was all people that would have like high level sort of skill sets, and they were like taking partitions of their time and allocating it to freelancing. But the biggest sort of like USP for the platform is they're all vetted professionals. So their background, the skill sets, and so forth. And so businesses come on and they do one of two things. They're looking for people to freelance for them. They're looking for remote workers, or they're looking to pitch their business for investment or investors. So the community is massive. It's like 500,000 people in total. And then based on that, you get video submissions back to you of people that will be interested to engage with you, speak to you, to work with you, for you, or pitch you on what they actually do. So like that's how the whole setup actually works. But what we do today is we kind of unpack you, and we unpack your business, and we unpack how 2024 is going. So I think let's kick it off. So Justin, thanks for joining me on the HustleWing podcast today. It's really cool to have you here. I think if you can introduce yourself to the community, who you are, your position, and tell us about the company and how 2024 is going for you and how that's kicked off for you so far.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, man. 2024 is already awesome. We had big plans for this year to come in, so we're still in acquisition mode, buying property. So, what we do at Leicester More Capital, I'm the CEO, and we buy single family homes, renovate them in markets that we like, and we operate them as short term rental properties. So, Airbnb, VRBO, getting into a little bit of in house booking as well. But primarily, that is the focus of what we do. And we raise capital from our investors, give them a great return, and, we can continue to kind of grow and scale that way.
And how long have you been around? I mean, what is the lifespan of the business so far? Like, when did you guys kick off?
Yeah. So to give you a brief history of my journey, so I actually did the exact opposite of most real estate guys. So I started off in multifamily real estate, so buying like apartment buildings. And
Okay.
it was going really well, but the reality is I found that it just wasn't coming fast enough. The cash flow wasn't fast enough. For your folks out there that understand kind of the multifamily, it's a great asset, especially for the last 10 years. If you hold it for 5-7 years and sell it, there's a lot of money to be made. But the cash flow is garbage in that space. And I'm always honest about it, right? It's like, it wasn't until I got into a bunch of deals and I realized, like, Jesus, like, if you're someone that works in even a high paying job and you get into a multifamily real estate, like, you're not going to quit that job off the cash flow. Maybe 10 years down the road when you're in a bunch of deals and you sell everything, like, okay, you'll come into this massive windfall, but you're not going to get there that way. So for me, I started buying single family homes, triplex squads in South Florida, condos and stuff, and did the Airbnb thing. And I told folks, you're making $150K. You find four properties that cash flow $3,100 a month. That's $150K that you're not even going to pay that much tax on. So it's like, for me, that was kind of what drew me into the business. And then I just wanted to scale.
How do you structure your team? So what does your team look like around you? Who's on staff? Who do you use for remote work? How do you structure your sort of your biz dev team, your operations team, your marketing team? How does it look around yourself?
Yeah, man. Like I'm just a huge proponent of mutually beneficial like relationships, right? So I didn't build my business to be a Fortune 500 company and like hire a bunch of people. So what I do is whether it's like my cleaning crew, my maintenance guys, I have a partnership for like data and analytics. It's a company called Revity that I use that helps out with underwriting and finding properties and stuff like that. So really, it's about just creating these relationships where kind of everybody wins in kind of the growth of my business is pretty much like how I've set my team up. Now, I do have a COO. I have some admin folk and stuff like that to help out on that end. But, it's really running lean. And what that allows us to do is actually extract a lot more of a return because we don't have this massive overhead for our business where a lot of these guys, go out and, buy these offices or buildings and shit. And it's like, you don't need to do any of that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It makes sense. And then in terms of like what the rest of the year looks like for you guys in terms of scalability or milestones or big projects that are currently on the go, what are you guys currently working on to take the business to the next step, or what's the next big sort of like milestone that's happening for you guys for the rest of this year?
Yeah. So we got a lot of exciting stuff. So we're closing out on our last raise and deal for a couple of properties in Mississippi and in Florida. We have like 7 other offers out in Gulf Shores, Alabama, a couple places in Florida. But the big thing we're trying to at least start is with our development stuff. So, one of the ways we can scale is by partnering with some other groups. So Emmett Smith and his group. I mean, you're a South African guy. I don't know if you even know who the heck that is, but he's a Hall of Famer football guy. Yeah, all right. But he's big into real estate, and we're actually doing some development townhomes. So we'll operate them as short-term rentals. So it starts with finding the land. We'll build it out to how we like it, and then what we'll do is we'll operate them as short-term rentals, and then the exit could be 5-7 years down the road, or depending on how things go, we could just hold on to it in perpetuity. So that's something that's super cool. That once we figure that out and really work through that first project, then we can start replicating in different parts of the country, or maybe different parts of the world.
Okay, so you're not just operating in the US; it's global. It's all over the place.
No, right now we're just in the U.S. So we are in the Caribbean, but aside from that, there's nothing that we've done overseas. So my wife is English, so I spent a lot of time. Well, in the military, I was a Navy guy. I spent time in Asia, and I was in Japan, and then I went to grad school when my wife is in the UK, so over there. So I spent a lot of time overseas in my life, and we definitely want to have a footprint in. There's a couple countries that we'd like to be in. So, but right now that hasn't been the case.
Okay. That makes sense. And tell me, in terms of the day to day, are you actively going out looking for clients? Are they coming to you? What does your outreach look like? What is that sort of like? What is your marketing sort of route to markets? Where are people engaging you from? Or are you looking for developments and going after those aggressively? Based on what the model looks like. What does that picture look like?
Yeah, it's a little combination of everything. So I definitely like to go out and talk to folks about what we're doing. There's a huge education gap that you have to kind of get over, and letting people understand why this is like such a safe but also profitable kind of investing strategy. So really, I have a lot of talks with like different family offices, private equity groups and stuff to get them on board. But for the majority of folks, whether it's on the retail investor side, I mean, really that's driven through social media, right? So like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, that's a huge driver. I also have another business called the STR Millionaires, which is an education and coaching business. And really that helps folks that want to get into this business that maybe don't have the 100, 200K to invest in one of our deals passively, but they want to learn how to do it themselves, right? And we got guys from all over the world, from Canada to throughout Europe, Australia, that are able to kind of learn how to start this business and, do it themselves. And we're really just passionate about just like showing people like, hey, if you want to get into the short-term rental space, we can show you how to do it the right way so that you can make the most money and also mitigate the risk as much as possible.
So do you have, if people engage, are you going to be like developing sort of like courses maybe, or is it going to be one-on-one coaching potentially?
No. So it's already out. It's a coaching and education platform. So it's already a module course. So you can get in and just go through the modules, and literally everything that you want to learn about this business is in there. Constantly updating it to different strategies, different techniques, like different ways to partner with folks, different ways to raise money. But we also have a kind of a group coaching platform. It's a mastermind called STR Millionaires Mastermind. And that's how you can come in and actually take part in the community and, really learn from folks, do deals, and also to get like that coaching and mentorship.
And where would people find that?
Yes, you can just go to strmillionaires.com right up there, or just reach out on like Instagram.
Fantastic. That's very cool. We'll check that out. And I think that's something interesting to sort of like put out to the community as well, to see what they think of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, look, I mean, property is so there's so much that can be done with it, and there's so many different types of ways of approaching it. So, like, would you be open to if there are members of the community that are interested in the sector or have got experience in it or want to invest in it, but more importantly, have got an idea and they would actually pitch you based on their services, based on their background, based on their skill set, and actually approach you and go, hey, we would like to do this or work with you on this or whatever. Would you be open to something like that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
the real estate game is all about relationships, right? And adding value
Yeah.
to folks. So, I mean, like I'm all about that. That's why I like talking to new people, coming on different podcasts and stuff. Like it's just, you never know where the next opportunity, you'll find it, right?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. Well, look, I think what I would like to know in terms of what your predictions are for the property industry for the rest of the year or going into next year, is the model that you currently sort of employing. You think it's going to be? Are there competitors? Are there guys that are like doing similar things? Is that a concern of yours at all? Is it going to be changing? Do you have to pivot to other types of things and so forth? You know, what does that look like?
Yeah. I mean, I think for us, we see this as a massive opportunity that's not going anywhere, right? Anyone is telling you they know what the hell is going on, whether in the macro economy or in any sector, like they're full of shit. They don't know, right?
Yeah.
But what you can do is try to position yourself as well as possible to make sure that you can be successful no matter what happens, right? So a big part of our strategy is we like going into markets where a lot of people aren't necessarily in. But even if they are in the market, like we really pride ourselves on the operation side, right? Because the short-term rental space is just as much hospitality as it is real estate. So you have the underlying asset of the real estate that gives you all the benefits, right? The appreciation, the tax benefits. But if you can operate better than 90% of the market, you're going to be successful. And one of the things that we do is we actually buy larger homes, right? So think a 5-bedroom house on the water. We'll turn it into a 8-bedroom house or a 9-bedroom house, right? Create a whole experience. And at least in the US, you know, even if a recession hits, another pandemic hits, people still travel, right? Like they're still coming to Florida. They're still going to these places. And if you're traveling with, you know, a group of folk, right? Or 2 families, 3 families, you want to go stay in a big house where you have multiple kitchens, your own space, you can go grocery shopping, or do you want to go stay at a Holiday Inn and rent 5-6 bedrooms, right? Like I think we've created a model where we're pretty recession resistant, for sure.
That's interesting. I mean, and with that sort of that model and that grow, the way that the company's going to grow over a period of time, do you see yourself like employing more people, workers and all that, or be a combination of both? And if you were to,
yeah, it's a combination of both. It's a combination of both. I mean, we're definitely growing, but you know, I think it's always important to hit those kind of financial benchmarks first before we then go out and start hiring people to do certain things. The partnering is just such a great model because it just incentivizes everybody to do well, right? And you know, I'm just really big on mutually beneficial relationships, right? So my cleaners come in, the more properties we pick up and we charge a premium because it's a profit center for us, they can participate in that as well, right? So that incentivizes them to do a good job and stay with us because they're making more with us than they'd make for someone else. But that doesn't force me to actually then like bring them on. Now in the future, that could be the case, right? But right now, like our real focus is just growing out buyers, and then creating a brand behind
what's the 2 or 3 things. First-time property buyers, they want to enter into the market. They've never done this before. They want to give it a bash. They want to approach it. Where do they start? Yeah.
So, no, that's easy. So it's the 3 things. So take action.
Oh yeah, okay.
Take action, and damn, this last one. Take action. All right, like just go out and fucking do it, man. Like you know, in all seriousness, like I think there's so many people that sit around for eternity thinking about what they want to do rather than just going out and just doing it, right? But in all seriousness, like take action really is number one, right? But the other thing is like if there's something that you want to do and accomplish, go find somebody that you like, you respect, and want to follow in kind of like where they're at. Go join a mentorship program, right? Or study them, study what they're doing and emulate it, right? Like if someone lays out the roadmap or the blueprint, like follow it. Like in business, there's no reason to recreate the wheel, right? And like unless you're Elon Musk and you're trying to go to like, I don't know, Pluto or something like that, and you got to just go from scratch, follow what somebody else is doing, man. And you'll get there so much faster. I mean, I got into real estate that way, you know, joining a $20 million mastermind. Then I wanted to learn how to raise capital. I beat my head against the wall. I joined another mastermind, right? And those steps, even though I'm not in multifamily, I utilize to grow my business so much faster than I would have trying to do it on my own. And I think if people, those two things, right? And I won't even say a third, two things. Take action and find somebody that's doing what you want to do and then follow their blueprint.
You hear that so often, but the reality is you just need to get started. You need to kick off and get going. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Pushing every single day.
A nice final
to get what
question
you want.
would be, and this obviously is now pertinent